I'm sitting on the edge of the exam table, that loud, crinkly paper reminding me of every checkup I've ever had, pretending I'm more relaxed than I actually feel. It's supposed to be a routine visit. Nothing dramatic, nothing out of the ordinary. The room smells like antiseptic and nostalgia, taking me back to the days I brought my kids to the pediatrician. I'm chatting with Dr. Reynolds about sleep, stress, and the aches that show up like uninvited guests once you hit a certain age. On the outside, I'm composed, smiling even, but inside there's this heaviness I've been carrying for months. A tired kind of confusion about my marriage that I haven't wanted to face head-on. Dr. Reynolds turns toward her computer, typing away, updating my chart like she's done for years. I'm only half paying attention, just enough to look engaged, not enough to actually care. And then I see it. His name, Daniel Carter. My husband. Right there, tucked between my lab results and medication history. At first, my brain does that thing where it tries to soften the blow. Maybe it's old data, maybe a billing mix-up, maybe something harmless. But my chest tightens anyway, because my gut has always known when something isn't right, even when my heart refuses to listen. Wait, I hear myself say, but my voice sounds distant, almost polite, like I'm asking about the weather. Is that Daniel's name? Why is he on my chart? Doctor. Reynolds stills for a brief second, just enough for me to notice. She tries to sound casual when she answers, but it doesn't land that way for me anymore. Oh, because he requested to have his results linked to your file. And that's the moment everything inside me shifts, the moment a quiet dread tells me that whatever I'm about to learn won't fit back into the life I walked in with. The words, linked to your file, swirl in my head like smoke, curling into every corner of my thoughts. I blink at the screen, trying to make the pieces align into something that makes sense, something that doesn't hurt. Partners, she adds, almost gently, like she's cushioning the fall before I hit the ground. Partners. The word feels foreign in my mouth, like it belongs to someone else's life. Because Daniel and I, we haven't touched each other in months. Not a kiss that lingered, not a hand held without intention, not even the sleepy brush of bodies sharing the same sheet. Hearing that word makes something inside me tighten, like a knot pulled too fast. I swallow hard, trying to keep my voice steady as I say, We haven't been intimate for months. Dr. Reynolds looks at me then, really looks, her eyes widening just enough to reveal the truth she hasn't said yet. She hesitates, and that pause slices straight through me. Amanda. He came in worried about a possible exposure. Exposure. That one word hits like a cold slap. She continues, almost whispering now. He said he needed to make sure he didn't give anything to you. And suddenly the room feels too bright, too sterile, too honest. The hum of the fluorescent lights fills the silence between us, and I'm aware of my own heartbeat, loud and unsteady in my ears. I force a smile. Women are trained to do that, aren't we? Smile through confusion, through dread, through the exact moment we feel the ground shift beneath us. I nod like I understand, like this is just another medical formality. But inside, everything collapses. Months where he kept his distance. Months of excuses. Months of sleeping in the guest room because he was restless. And now this. My stomach sinks as realization settles in with a cold, quiet certainty. If he was afraid of giving me something, then he got it from somewhere. And that somewhere wasn't me. I sit there for a moment, pretending to listen as Dr. Reynolds gently shifts the conversation back to my own health, but I can't absorb a single word. My mind keeps replaying the past few months like a highlight reel I never wanted to watch. The nights he claimed he was exhausted. The way he rolled away from me in bed, choosing the cold comfort of the guest room instead of the warmth we once shared. Even the way he guarded his phone like it was a lifeline. At the time, I blamed myself. I thought maybe I wasn't trying hard enough. Maybe I was too emotional, too busy, too something. But now those moments line up perfectly, like clues I ignored because I trusted him. As I leave the office, clutching the printout Dr. Reynolds gave me, my hands won't stop trembling. The hallway feels longer than usual, each step echoing louder as if the building itself knows something I don't want to admit. Outside, the sun is bright, too bright for what I just learned, and it almost feels cruel that the world keeps spinning normally while mine tilts. I sit in my car, the leather seat warm beneath me, and let the silence wrap around me. That's when the tears come, not loud or dramatic, but quiet and steady, the kind that carry years of disappointment, confusion, and the numb realization that someone you love might not love you back the same way. I wipe my face, take a deep breath, and pull down the sun visor like I'm looking at myself for the first time. Something inside me hardens, not anger yet, not fully, more like a promise to stop ignoring what's right in front of me, a promise to pay attention. And as I drive away, there's this strange, sharp clarity building in my chest. If Daniel has secrets, and clearly he does, then it's time I start uncovering them one by one. Whatever he's been hiding, whatever he thought I'd never find out, I'm done pretending not to notice. The drive home feels like floating through fog, that dense kind that blurs the world around you and forces you to focus on what's happening inside instead. My hands stay tight on the steering wheel, knuckles pale, because my mind is replaying every moment I brushed off as nothing. His late nights at work, the unexplained meetings, the way he tiptoed in so quietly, as if he didn't want to be noticed. Back then, I convinced myself marriage had seasons, that maybe we were just in a dry one. But now those excuses feel like lies I told myself to avoid facing the truth that was already staring at me. By the time I pull into the driveway, my heart feels like a stone in my chest. The house looks the same beige walls, same trimmed hedges, same familiar porch where we used to drink coffee on Sunday mornings. But stepping inside, everything feels different. The air is thick with things unsaid, with tension I didn't fully understand until today. I walk through the room slowly, touching the back of a chair, straightening a pillow, grounding myself with tiny motions because I need something to feel normal. Yet even the silence feels suspicious now, like the house is holding its breath with me. I sit on the couch, staring at the framed photos lining the mantel. Smiling versions of us. Vacations. Anniversaries. Moments where I thought I knew the man standing beside me. My stomach twists as I realize how much of my life I built on trust. Trust he may have thrown away without blinking. And as I sit there in the dim afternoon light, one thought grows louder than the rest. If he's hiding something, it won't stay hidden for long. Not with the way my gut feels. Not after what I saw today. Something is wrong, and I'm done pretending it isn't. When Daniel finally walks through the door that evening, I can feel my whole body tense, like I'm bracing for impact. He doesn't even look up from his phone at first, just drops his keys in the bowl by the door and sighs dramatically, as if he's carrying the weight of the world. Long day? I ask, trying to sound casual, steady, invisible even. He nods without meeting my eyes. Exhausting. I'm going to bed early. The words come out clipped, distant, like I'm a coworker he barely tolerates instead of the woman he married. And in that moment, I feel something sharp twist inside me. Not heartbreak, not yet, but something colder. I watch him walk toward the hallway, his shoulders tense, his steps oddly quick, the way someone moves when they want to escape. You've been tired a lot lately. Everything okay? I ask, giving him one last chance to offer anything honest. He stops just long enough to exhale an irritated huff. Can we not do this? You always overthink. always overthink. The phrase lands in my chest like a punch, not because it's true, but because it's what men say when they want you blind, quiet, unsure of your own instincts. I force a calm expression, but inside my suspicion spreads like a crack in glass. He disappears into the guest room he claimed to prefer because the mattress was better for his back. But now, standing in the hallway, listening to him close the door, I feel the truth settling in a heavy, immovable way. This isn't about exhaustion, or space, or comfort. This is about someone else. Someone who gets the version of him I haven't seen in months. And as I stand there in the half-dark, one thing becomes painfully clear. Whatever he's hiding, he's determined to keep it buried. But I'm done being kept in the dark. I head to the kitchen, pretending I'm just grabbing a glass of water, but really I'm trying to steady myself. My reflection in the window looks unfamiliar. Tired eyes, tight jaw, a woman trying to hold herself together when every instinct is screaming that her life is changing in ways she never asked for. I replay the doctor's words, the test results, the look on Daniel's face when he brushed me off. And suddenly it all clicks. The distance, the excuses, the late nights. It isn't randomness. It's a pattern. A truth forming piece by piece, whether I'm ready for it or not. I walk down the hallway slowly, each step feeling heavier than the last, stopping outside the door he closed so quickly. There's no sound from inside, no movement, no TV, nothing. Just silence. The kind that hides something. I place my hand on the doorknob, but I don't turn it. Not yet. I'm not afraid of what I'll find. I'm afraid of what it will confirm. So I pull my hand back and breathe, long and steady, teaching myself to stay calm. I know myself well enough to understand that silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. And right now, I need my mind sharper than my emotions. As I head back to the living room, a strange resolve settles into me. A quiet, deliberate kind of strength I haven't felt in a long time. I'm done taking his words at face value. I'm done waiting for explanations that never come. And I'm done accepting crumbs of affection from a man who gives his warmth somewhere else. If Daniel thinks I'm the type of woman who will stay blind, he's forgotten who he married. I will find out whatever he's hiding. And when I do, he won't see it coming. That night, after hours of pretending to watch TV, pretending to be calm, pretending to be the same woman I was yesterday, I hear the shower turn on in the guest bathroom. That's my opening. My pulse kicks up instantly, not out of fear, but out of something sharper, certainty. I walk into the bedroom we used to share, the air heavy with memories that feel like someone else's now. His phone is right there on the nightstand, screen dark, case worn at the edges. He thinks I won't dare touch it. He thinks I'm still that trusting. And maybe that's who I was before today, but not anymore. I pick it up, my fingers trembling just enough to remind me that I'm still human. The passcode screen lights up, and for a moment I hesitate, wondering if I'm crossing a line. But then another thought snaps into place. He crossed one first. So I try the old code, the one he forgot he ever shared with me years ago, back when secrets weren't part of our marriage. And just like that, the phone unlocks. A strange mix of vindication and heartbreak washes over me, because deep down, I already know what I'm about to find. Women always know. We just wait for proof to stop doubting ourselves. I open the messages and feel a jolt, like a cold rush straight through my body. Bella. The heart is what hits me hardest. Not the name, not the thread, but the audacity of the heart. I tap it. Dozens of messages flood the screen. Sentences full of longing he hasn't shown me in months. Photos. Hotel confirmations. Voice notes whispering things he never says to me anymore. Each one slices through me with a different kind of pain, the kind that leaves you breathless in your own home. And yet, beneath all that hurt, something fierce begins to rise, because now I have the truth, in his own words. I scroll through the messages slowly, each swipe revealing another piece of a life I didn't know he was living. Last night was unforgettable. I need more. My eyes catch on those words, and for a moment, I lose my breath. It's surreal, hearing the intimacy he denies me spoken so freely to someone else. My throat tightens, and I press a hand over my mouth to keep the sound in, because the last thing I want is to give him the satisfaction of hearing me break. The betrayal is sharp, but the humiliation, that's what burns. He used my absence, my trust, my love as cover for someone else's thrill. Then I start taking photos, screenshots, receipts, anything that could disappear if he realizes what I've found. The camera shutter clicks softly, like a quiet acknowledgement of every lie he thought I'd never discover. I save everything, each image a reminder that I'm not imagining this, that I'm not overthinking like he loves to claim. And with every snapshot, I feel a strange calm settling over me. A clarity. The kind that comes when the fog finally lifts and the full shape of the truth appears. This isn't a mistake. This isn't a phase. This is who he's chosen to be when I'm not looking. Just as I finish scrolling through the last voice note, I hear the bathroom door open. The sound of water dripping off his skin hits the tile floor, and my stomach tightens with a mix of dread and resolve. I look up just as he steps into the doorway, towel slung low around his waist, hair wet, eyes narrowing the moment he sees his phone in my hands. For the first time, he looks scared. Not angry, not annoyed, but genuinely scared. And I realize that's because he knows exactly what I've found. His throat works as he swallows. "What are you doing with my phone?" he asks, his voice strained. And I'm suddenly steadier than I've been in months. I stand up slowly, still holding his phone, and the weight of it feels symbolic now, like I'm holding every lie he ever told me. He takes a hesitant step forward, but I don't flinch. Not this time. I meet his eyes with a calmness even I didn't expect, a kind of quiet strength that comes when the truth finally chooses you over illusions. "Just checking if your STD results came back clean," I say, my voice steady, almost gentle. And watching the color drain from his face is the confirmation I didn't even know I needed. He knows exactly what that means. He knows the facade is over. He opens his mouth, but nothing comes out at first, just a choked attempt at a word that dies before it forms. He looks smaller somehow, stripped of every excuse he rehearsed, every lie he built brick by brick to keep me in the dark. I can see the panic flickering behind his eyes, panic that isn't about hurting me, but about being caught. It hits me harder than any confession ever could, because a man who fears losing you reacts with remorse. A man who fears losing control reacts with panic. And right now, all he cares about is the fallout. I place his phone on the nightstand with deliberate care, like I'm setting down the last piece of a puzzle I never wanted to complete. My hands aren't shaking anymore. My heartbeat isn't racing. I feel steady, unmovable. And as he stands there dripping water onto the carpet, searching for a story that might save him, I already know there's nothing he can say that will undo what I've seen. The truth is out. And now that it is, the next move is mine, because this moment isn't my breaking point. It's the beginning of something he never expected. I sit on the edge of the bed, my arms crossed tightly over my chest, grounding myself as he stumbles into the room trying to gather pieces of a story that never made sense to begin with. The room feels tense, charged, like the air right before a thunderstorm breaks open. He keeps shifting his weight from one foot to the other, tugging at the towel around his waist, eyes darting everywhere except toward the truth sitting right in front of him. "I can explain," he finally blurts out, voice shaky, as if excuses could somehow erase months of distance, lies, and the sting of betrayal still fresh on my tongue. I lean back slightly, waiting, not for an explanation, but for the moment he realizes nothing he says now can save him. "What exactly are you explaining?" I ask, my voice surprisingly calm. though inside I feel like a volcano that's learned how to hold its fire. Why you got tested for diseases you didn't get from me? The question lands between us like a strike, sharp and unavoidable. He freezes, lips parting, eyes flickering with that familiar nervous twitch I used to mistake for stress. Now I know better. Now I see it for what it is. Guilt. He tries again, wiping at his face with the back of his hand. It's not what it seems. The oldest, weakest line in the book, and somehow he says it like he expects me to believe it. I feel a bitter laugh escape me, one I don't bother hiding. Then what is it? I press, leaning forward. Because you've ignored me for months. You've slept in another room. You've treated me like an obligation. And now I know why. My voice doesn't tremble. My heart doesn't race. Something inside me has shifted. Something steady. Something strong. And as he stands there, scrambling for the right lie to wrap around his shame, I realize he isn't shocked that he hurt me. He's shocked I finally caught him. And that tells me everything I need to know about the man standing in front of me. He exhales sharply, the kind of frustrated breath men use when they're cornered, when the truth has finally outrun their excuses. Fine, he snaps, voice rising with a defensiveness that only confirms everything I already know. Yes, I've been seeing someone. The words hang in the air, heavy and ugly, but not surprising. Not anymore. He tries to soften it with a shrug, as if infidelity is something you sweep under the rug. You weren't giving me what I needed. And that line nearly makes me laugh again, because it's so absurd, so predictable, so drenched in entitlement that it actually steals the last bit of pity I didn't realize I still had for him. What you needed, I repeat, the disbelief curling around every syllable. Apparently what you needed was antibiotics. The moment I say it, his jaw tightens, and a flicker of anger crosses his face. Not regret, not shame, just anger that I dared throw the truth back at him. He takes a step closer, reaching for my arm like he thinks physical presence will intimidate me the way it used to shut down arguments in the past. But I pull away before he even touches me. The movement sharp, instinctive, refusing to let him rewrite this moment as anything but what it is. The consequences arriving right on time. His voice cracks with desperation now. Amanda, just listen. But I'm done listening. I've spent months listening to silence, to excuses, to lies wrapped in half-hearted apologies. I stand, lifting my chin, grounding myself in the strength I've earned the hard way. Pack a bag, I tell him, each word clear as glass. You're leaving tonight. His face twists. Shock first, then indignation, then the fear he's been trying so hard to hide. And in that shifting expression, I recognize the truth. He never expected me to choose myself over him. You can't kick me out of my own house, he shouts, his voice cracking somewhere between outrage and panic. And for a split second, I see the man he truly is, the one who clings to control when he feels it slipping, the one who never imagined I'd stand up to him like this. But I don't flinch, not anymore. I walk to my dresser, pull out the folder I've kept tucked away for years, and place it calmly on the bed between us. Read our prenup again, I say, my tone quiet but immovable. Infidelity means you lose everything. It's almost poetic, watching the realization wash over him. The anger, the fear, the disbelief, all of it unfolding in real time. He stares at the folder like it's a bomb he didn't know he built himself. His breathing grows shallow, his chest rising and falling in short, frantic bursts. Amanda, please, he stammers, his voice suddenly softer, smaller, as if vulnerability might undo what he's done. But I know the difference between remorse and survival instinct, and what I'm seeing now is pure fear of consequences. He's not afraid of losing me. He's afraid of losing comfort, money, reputation. I take a slow breath, letting the truth settle between us. I'm not the one begging, and I won't be. I step back, giving him space, not out of mercy but out of closure. Pack your things, I repeat, my voice steady. You're leaving tonight. He opens his mouth again, another plea forming, but there's nothing left for me to hear. Because in this moment, something inside me finally clicks into place. This isn't the man I married. This is the man he became when he thought I'd never see who he really was. And as he stands there frozen, towel slipping, excuses dying on his tongue, I can feel the next chapter forming. One where I'm not just reacting, but taking control. The next morning, I wake up with a clarity I haven't felt in years. It's the kind that settles deep in your bones. The kind that comes after a storm when the air finally feels breathable again. Daniel's suitcase is gone from the hallway, and the house is quiet, peaceful even. For the first time in months, I don't feel like I'm tiptoeing around someone else's moods. I brew myself a cup of coffee, the smell warm and comforting, almost like a small reward for surviving the truth. As I wrap my hands around the mug, a thought strikes me with surprising calmness. It's time to call my lawyer. Not later, not eventually, now. I walk into my home office, sunlight spilling across the desk, and pull out the folder of evidence I collected last night. Screenshots, messages, hotel confirmations, even the medical record printout from Dr. Reynolds. Each piece of paper feels heavy, not because of the betrayal they represent, but because of the freedom they promise. When I finally dial my lawyer's number, my heart beats steadily, not with fear, but with resolve. And when she answers, her voice warm and sharp all at once, I feel myself exhale. I'm ready, I tell her. It's time. There's no hesitation in her reaction, only confidence. Bring everything, she says. We're filing immediately. Her certainty strengthens me, like someone placing a hand on the middle of my back, saying, keep going. So I gather every document, tuck them into a crisp file, and head out the door. Walking into her office feels less like stepping into a legal process and more like stepping into the life I should have claimed long ago. And when I place the folder on her desk, she flips through the pages, her expression growing more assured with every line she reads. This is airtight, she tells me, looking up, and hearing that feels like the first real breath of freedom. When she finishes reviewing everything, she leans back in her chair with a confident smile, the kind that tells me I'm not the one on shaky ground anymore. You'll get the house, the accounts, and the car, she says, tapping the stack of evidence with her nail. He'll walk away with nothing. And hearing that doesn't make me feel vengeful. It makes me feel justified. Like all the nights I cried quietly into my pillow finally have a purpose. I sign the documents with a steady hand, each stroke of the pen carving a little more distance between who I was with him and who I'm becoming without him. By lunchtime, the divorce papers are drafted, notarized, and ready to be served. My lawyer asks if I'd prefer a courier to deliver them, but a calm certainty rises in me. No, I say. I want to take them myself. Not out of spite, out of closure. Out of the need to show him that the woman he underestimated is the one who brings the ending. So I drive to his workplace, my hand steady on the wheel, the crisp envelope on the seat beside me. The building looks the same as always, but walking through those doors feels different now. I'm not here as his wife. I'm here as a woman reclaiming her life. When I find him in the hallway, surrounded by co-workers, his face goes pale the second he sees the envelope in my hand. Amanda, please, he whispers, reaching out like he thinks he can pull me back into the shadows he kept me in. I hold the papers out to him, my voice quiet but unshakable. You should have thought about that before you went sleeping with someone else. The room falls still, murmurs, glances, the weight of judgment settling around him like dust. He fumbles with the envelope, panic tightening his jaw. "We can fix this," he says urgently. But all I feel is a steady, liberating calm. "I'm fixing myself," I tell him, my voice so steady it surprises even me. "You? You can fix your mistakes alone." His mouth opens again, another plea ready to spill out, but I'm already turning away. And when I walk down that hallway, past the curious stares, the whispered judgments, the people who now know exactly what kind of man he's been, I feel something shift inside me. Not bitterness, not triumph, just release. A clean, cool exhale after months of suffocating under lies I didn't know I was living beneath. By the time I step outside into the sunlight, it feels like the world is widening again. I sit in my car for a moment, hands resting lightly on the steering wheel, letting the silence settle around me. It feels different now, not heavy or tense, but full of possibility, like the quiet before you start a new chapter in a book you actually want to read. I think of everything ahead of me. The house I'll keep, the life I'll rebuild, the freedom waiting on the other side of this unraveling. And for the first time in a long time, the future doesn't feel like something happening to me. It feels like something I'm steering toward, deliberately, bravely, and without apology. As I start the engine, I glance at the passenger seat where the empty envelope now lies. Its job done. A strange calm washes through me. Not triumph, not revenge, just truth settling where it always belonged. And as I pull away from his workplace, one thought rises with quiet certainty. This isn't the end of a marriage. It's the beginning of me choosing myself. And that choice is going to lead me somewhere he never imagined I'd go. 6 months later, I'm sitting at a sunny little cafe with my sister, the kind of place that smells like fresh pastries and new beginnings. The light catches the rim of my coffee cup, and for a moment I'm struck by how peaceful everything feels. No tension waiting for me at home. No second-guessing every late night or unexplained silence. Just me. My sister studies my face with that soft, knowing smile only siblings have. "You're really happy again," she says, stirring her latte. "It suits you." And she's right. I feel lighter, brighter. Even my laughter sounds different, fuller, as if it finally has room to breathe. I tell her about the cooking class I started, the one I always said I didn't have time for because life with Daniel demanded constant emotional management. I described the trip I took to Italy, how I walked along the cobblestone streets alone, not lonely, tasting foods I couldn't pronounce and watching sunsets that didn't feel like metaphors anymore. She laughs when I show her photos of the dishes I've learned to make, teasing that I'm becoming dangerously impressive. But the truth is, I'm rediscovering parts of myself I had quietly tucked away while trying to hold together a marriage that was already falling apart. As we talk, I glance at my phone. No missed calls, no desperate texts from Daniel, no emotional weight tied to the screen. And that silence? It's soothing. Empowering, even. I take a sip of my coffee, the warmth spreading through me, and realize something almost startling. This peace I feel isn't temporary. It's mine. I earned it. And I'm not giving it up again. My life isn't perfect, but it's honest. And for the first time in a long while, I genuinely look forward to whatever comes next. Later that afternoon, back at home, I sit at my kitchen table, the same one where I once waited for Daniel to come home, the same one where I cried silently over unanswered questions. Now it's covered with travel brochures, cookbook notes, little pieces of the life I'm building intentionally, piece by piece. The house feels different these days. Not empty, open. Spacious in a way that has nothing to do with square footage. I walk from room to room, noticing the small changes I've made. A vase of fresh flowers, new throw pillows, framed photos from Italy. Every detail feels like a quiet declaration of independence. I check my mail, flipping through bills and ads until I reach the official notice from the court. My divorce is final. No lingering loose ends. No more waiting for signatures. It hits me then, not with sadness, but with a gentle kind of triumph. This chapter of my life ended cleanly, decisively, the way I deserved. I place the letter on the counter, smoothing it with my palm, and the realization settles in. I am truly free, not just legally, emotionally, spiritually. I feel rooted in myself again, as if a weight I'd carried for far too long has finally dissolved. Later that night, I pour a glass of wine and sit by the window, watching the neighborhood lights flicker on one by one. There's no rush, no anxiety humming beneath my skin, no dread of who might walk through the door. Just stillness. The kind that feels like exhaling after holding your breath for years. I think of all the women who stay in marriages that drain them, who convince themselves that suffering is normal, who shrink so their partners can shine. And for a moment, I feel proud. Not because I left, but because I chose myself when it mattered most. A few weeks later, my phone buzzes with an unfamiliar number. I stare at it for a moment, a strange calm washing over me. I already know who it is, because patterns don't break easily, even when marriages do. I let it ring twice before I swipe to decline, the motion smooth, instinctive, almost effortless. Not out of anger, out of closure. A minute later, another message comes through, a desperate attempt to draw me back into a story I no longer belong to. I block the number without hesitation, feeling the final thread snap cleanly, quietly, in a way that feels almost ceremonial. I close my laptop afterward, the screen dimming as I lean back in my chair. The room is warm, lit by soft lamplight, and for a moment I just breathe, deeply, freely, like someone who has fought her way out of something heavy and is finally standing in the sunlight on the other side. "Thanks for cheating, Daniel," I whisper. Not with bitterness, but with the deepest sincerity. You freed me. And I mean it. His betrayal didn't break me. It broke the version of me that tolerated uncertainty, half-love, and emotional crumbs disguised as devotion. I rise from my chair and look around my home, and feel a wave of gratitude for the woman I became in the aftermath. Stronger, softer, clearer, more mine. There's no dramatic music, no sudden revelation, just a quiet, powerful peace settling into place, the kind that promises new chapters, new joys, new beginnings. And as I turn out the lights and head toward my bedroom, one truth echoes inside me like a steady heartbeat. The life ahead of me isn't scary anymore. It's wide open. And for the first time in a long time, it feels entirely, beautifully mine.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.